Hey, Acadiana, welcome back to the First and 10 Post Show, Week 2 Playoff Edition. I'm one of your hosts, News 10 Sports, Jalen Cavalier, and with me once again is...
They call me Dawson D'Amico, and oh my gosh, Jalen, was this week hectic or what?
It definitely was. Week 2 of the playoffs was definitely hectic. A lot of upsets across the board.
We got to get into them.
I'm
excited. But first, let them know what you did. Where were you at today?
Yes, first, I start off with my first game of the night. It was St. Martin's. Get this. So it's St. Martin's Episcopal Saints. That's the full name of the team out of Metairie in New Orleans. Okay. In New Orleans, they came to St. Ed's to take on St. Edmunds, the Blue Jays, in Eunice. The number one running back in the country, not just Louisiana, in the country, Harlan Berry was there. And but ultimately, I'm gonna say this: it wasn't as close as it was when I was there. Because when I was there, it was 8-3 Blue Jays when I left. But the final score ended up being 78-37 Blue Jays.
They scored that much after you left?
They scored that much after I left. 70, no. So you take away 70 miles and do some math. So 70 points they scored after I left. I was like, oh my God, when I saw that final score. So yeah, Blue Jays move on to the quarterfinals. They sent St. Martin's packing right back to Metairie. And then my other game, which could be a potential game of the night, but it was a rematch between LCA and Notre Dame.
Yeah, we were excited for this one. I know George was too.
Yeah, definitely. George Foss was there, ladies and gentlemen, for those that want to know. He was definitely there. It was 20-14. LCA was leading at the half. Came back to the second half. LCA's quarterback, Braylon Walker, threw that bomb to Ashton Begnaud. I mean, the poor pile defender tried to get it, just couldn't. Yep. Begnaud ran in for a touchdown, made it 27-14. And then he ended up getting the ball back after Notre Dame turnover. But then Braylon Walker kind of carelessly just threw the ball right to linebacker for the Pios. And then Jackson Casanova got the handoff, ended up scoring. Back and forth game. In the end, it was LCA who went on the road and won 35-28. So that's one upset. And I know it's an 8-9 matchup, but I still see it as an upset.
Oh, definitely. And what a replacement LCA had when it to have Juwan Johnson to Braylon Walker. And then not only they lost their head coach in the middle of the year.
Definitely, yes, they definitely.
And now look what they're doing. It's just a thing with football teams when they realize they're in a bad situation, they go in a new direction with the head coach, and somehow, some way, it just makes it better. The team wasn't playing for them. Now they have a coach that they believe in, and you're seeing what's coming with it. It's
definitely. So what games were you at this evening, Dawson?
I was out in Iberia Parish. I had to go start off in Jeanneret. And first off, I'd like to say the town of Jeanneret, they don't have much going on over there. But one thing they do have is a very good football team. And they've had that for the past 3 seasons. They recently just started to actually have a good football team, and it's finally they won their first. They had their first playoff appearance 3 seasons ago. Had their first playoff win a season ago, and now look what they're doing today. As soon as I get there, as soon as the game starts, very first play from scrimmage, it was Zion Kolar. He ended up finding Devon Duhon. A bomb down the sidelines. It was he came back from an injury. He was out for 3 straight games. Comes back and does that. It ended up being a closer game at first, but then afterward, the Tigers just blew up. 46-24, they won. Before all that happened, though, I ended up in Catholic New Iberia, and y'all know how I feel about my Panthers. I love the Panthers. that quarterback, Luke Landry, I say it once, I say it again. I don't know if you heard me the first 10 times, but I'm going to say it an 11th time. That kid is good. As soon as I show up, this guy shows off for me. I swear, it was a good luck charm. They were already kicking butt, but they started kicking more butt as soon as I show up. He throws a bomb down the sidelines to one of the wide receivers. He almost scores. Gets knocked out at the 8-yard line. Gavin Roy was the wide receiver. He gets knocked out at the 8-yard line. 2 plays later, Landry finds Jaden Mitchell for a touchdown. When I tell you, the ball came out of his hands so quick. This kid's like my size, and I'm not a big guy. He's actually a little taller than me. I'm only 5'6". He's 5'11", not even 200 pounds. But the way this kid can release the ball, I swear, if he was just a bigger frame, he would be getting D1 offers right now. I'm telling you, he was top 5 in the Acadiana era in passing yards this year. This is his senior year. If he's not getting colleges looking at him, I don't know what these guys are doing. I know I'm not a college recruiter, but if I see a guy that can do that, I don't care what your frame is. If you're making plays, if you're an accurate thrower of the ball, that's exactly who I want on my team. And I'm telling you, Luke Landry, he might bring them to the promised land this year. They look very, very good. I've been watching them since the beginning of the year and seeing what they're doing now. He has a lot of swagger. He can lead that team. That defense is good. The entire coaching staff is good. The energy from the home team crowd, I swear that student section is always lit. I wish I had when I was in high school, my student section was like that. It's always fun to watch, to go in that atmosphere, and they showed it today. They ended up winning 59-22. I mean, come on.
That was such
And Jonathan, get over here. I need you to tell me what the heck happened.
Oh, I wish I knew what happened.
Please tell me. This was the upset of the day.
I had to be.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us what happened.
We've been talking crazy about the Acadiana Wrecking Rams all year, and I even said that earlier today, I thought this would be the start of a magical playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
Get to the game, crowd's fired up, St. Aug, or no, I'm thinking of my next game. John Curtis, they come out in full force from New Orleans, and Acadiana,
always a good program.
back and forth to start the game. Jonah Goche, a pair of rushing touchdowns in the first half, and then you have John Curtis coming back, matching those points. And in the end, a 28-27 victory by Curtis. Number 19 knocks off number 3. One of the biggest upsets of the night across the state.
Yeah.
And really tough to see Matt McCullough, Caden DeBetta, and those boys go down like that because they had a very good regular season. We mentioned earlier in the day, they haven't lost since week 1. And now their season comes to the end in the regional round after a 28-27 loss.
That's what happened when John Curtis comes to town every now and then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
the pedigree they have. But I mean,
crazy enough, my second game had the same final score.
Nope.
It's the exact same final score. STM and St. Aug at Cougar Field. I get there at halftime, and STM puts up a touchdown to take a 14-7 lead right before halftime, and they come out in the second half. Cole Bergeron finds John Barton in the back of the end zone for a touchdown, but St. Aug, they fight back with an 80-yard touchdown on the exact next drive, the very next drive. And the Purple Knights, they brought it to the Cougars, but Jim Hightower and those boys, they know how to compete when the postseason comes around, and they're going to advance too. And I'm pretty sure they play Turlings. Oh, no.
Whoa, that would be crazy.
No, I'm trying to think.
They're playing
Turlings.
They're playing
Curtis plays Turlings.
Who beat? They beat Jesuit.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was a good game too.
That was a really good game.
Yep.
Hey, Turlings has been balling this year. I know.
They started off undefeated.
Yeah, and they have the tools to make it out. I know there's not as many teams going into next week that we had this week, but we still got a lot of really good ball clubs that are gonna have a chance to fight for the dome.
We might have rematches from last year. It seems like.
Yeah.
LCA,
Absolutely.
they, like we said earlier, they have this spark mid-season. STM, they were on a slump mid-season. They're all figuring it out now.
Yeah.
And these are teams that they know how to play in the playoffs.
Yeah, you got to turn it up whenever it gets to the postseason. And a lot of these teams that had a bye in the first round, they started off slow to begin the day. Like I remember seeing DeBetta struggle a little bit in the first quarter. He had a fumble that went out of bounds. Thankfully, kind of kept their drive alive. But a lot of these schools that they played last week and they got good wins out of the last week's games, they came and proved that they could still continually play that high level of football this week.
Yeah. Even if they go through the ups and downs of the year, when you get to the playoffs, it's all hands on deck.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of
Definitely.
upsets, Opelousas took out Jennings. I see you, Jean-Paul Jobert. Also, Cecilia, we know how that rivalry is.
Oh, yeah.
They beat Lutcher, a number 2 seed.
Yeah, Cecilia, those boys are for real.
Diesel Solari is legit.
Diesel
man.
Solari is a dog at quarterback. Brent Gordon, he's a dog at corner. And I know UL is going to be happy to have him.
Oh, yeah.
in the future.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. We might, like I said, we might have that matchup again. Like these teams, it looks like it might be
It's going to be interesting.
a whole
boys.
new.
It's gonna be
it,
real
it
interesting,
literally
boys.
looks like we're about to have, like it's lining up for a great storyline at the end of these playoffs. I'm very excited for it. And we had our game of the week too. It was
we're trying to wait for Karaski to come back
I
in
know.
there so we could he had multiple upsets on the night, but
let's just go.
Yeah,
Let's just
let's
go.
just go
Erath
with
and
it.
Lauraville. Lauraville, they were 15th seed.
Yeah.
Erath came in as number 2.
had a bye. ERA had a bye last week, one of the top teams in Division 3 non-select, and ultimately Lauraville came out there with the win.
28-7. It's Lauraville has a good program. It's a small school, but they got some fight in them. Same with Erath. It's very good. Ski, get over here. We're talking about Lauraville and Erath. I know you was over there. He's coming.
He's coming, ladies and
He's on the
gentlemen.
way,
He's
y'all.
coming.
He's on the way.
Coming. For those who don't know, Karaski Melvin had 3 games tonight. Just to give you a little sneak peek, he's going to talk about all 3 of those games as we come here. 2 of them, like we mentioned, were upsets, and 1 was a close upset, as he said, in the first half. But the second half, the team kind of took over. But like I said, when he gets over here, he's going to explain all of that to you. Like I said, 3 games.
I think it's the night of upsets, and we predicted this for the second round. We knew first round there would be show the better teams would show their dominance. This round, it's so unpredictable to know what was happening. We knew the Acadiana versus John Curtis game was going to be an insane one.
Turling's Jesuit, that's another one where it was like, okay, you didn't know what team was going to win, honestly.
STM and St. Aug. St. Aug won the Catholic League this year, and that's a legit division, and STM was able to come up big. And it all looks like it's going to be a good one. I'm just excited to see what's next in round 3. I don't know. Round 2 was so excited. Round 3, what can we get now?
So that's round 3, talking about the games that we went to tonight. So LCA is going to take on #1 seed Dunham next week in the quarterfinals. Catholic New Iberia.
LCA, they beat Notre Dame.
That's
a rematch. Yeah, remember that.
Oh,
that was a rematch. The LCA and Notre Dame was a rematch.
It definitely was a rematch from the regular season, as we talked about. Then also Catholic New Iberia game you went to, they're going to take on Isidore Newman, another New Orleans school, take on them next week.
Odell Beckham, Manning brothers. That's all of them.
That's something. Then we're going to have Kane West and his St. Ed's, who defeated St. Martin's Episcopal tonight. They're going to take on the #1 seed Vermilion Catholic, who Karaski's going to talk about
Vermilion did win
coming up because they did win today. They won against Westminster Christian.
They've been destroying teams lately. Karaski, please tell me, what did you see today for the playoffs?
All right, so I guess we need to start with yes, I know I'm really tall.
He's tall. We're short. It's all good.
Let's begin with Erath and Lorville. Talk with both of the head coaches. Now, they played the first game at the beginning of the regular season, but it was in a slosh. It was in a monsoon. Both coaches said that was an uncharacteristic kind of game. There were turnovers everywhere. This time, more favorable conditions. Lorville coming in, taking advantage of a turnover early, taking more of their defense rather, and they turned their defense into offense, able to strike. And Erath attempted for a 4th down, didn't necessarily come through, and Lorville able to pull off that upset. Talked with Kylan Polk, and he said, "How do they win this game? Play our game."
Yep.
And essentially they played their game. Meanwhile, Vermilion Catholic continues to play their game and play quite well. However, if you can believe it, they were down late in the second quarter, but then they just turned it up. I mean, Jonathan D'Artes. What more can we?
That kid is good.
What more can we say about Jonathan D'Artes? He would go in for the touchdown to put VC up, and then I think that kind of swayed the momentum because then the Eagle defense started to swarm. There was a sack. Crusaders would end up punting. Then D'Artes would hit Bassard, and with a great move, went down there, and the scoring would continue to pile on, ending up putting 47 on the board. So again, Vermilion Catholic keeping it hot. Now further down the road in Kaplan against Pine. You go into the second half. Pine had the first 2 scores of the game, and Kaplan had a long, methodical drive in the third quarter, right? They were running it, they were getting those consistent runs and things like that. Then they went for one of their passes and it got intercepted. Pine took advantage of that between the third and fourth quarter, ending up turning that into a touchdown, and they were able to pull off the victory over Kaplan on there. Some other scores of mentioning of note. Opelousas Catholic fortunately falling to Ascension Catholic 58-13. Central Catholic falling to Covenant Christian 41-13. Logan Sport beating Elton 49-12, and then the Iota Bulldogs 7 points short. Lakeshore, they fall 17-10. But I'm sure you guys were talking about the big one that happened over at Dotson.
Oh yes,
that was
definitely
that was definitely something. Acadiana looked like they were probably, in my opinion, like one of the hottest teams going into this playoffs, and they were winning. They seemed like they were imposing their wills. John Curtis being able to come away and get that one. And meanwhile, not too far from that, and I know Jonathan had mentioned it as well. That's SDM, you remember how in the beginning of the season how the Cougars they were under 500.
Yes.
And like we were wondering. Acadiana, of course, was one of the losses that was hung on them, but they have suddenly seemed to have written the ship. And then of course we can't get Turling's big win for them. They are moving on. We'll see where that squad will go. But again, great work here. And also, I gotta say, great work for these two right here, manning down the First and 10 post-game show. It's something
fun.
It's something
it's
definitely something we've wanted to do consistently, and featuring these two helming the ship has been great. To have to put it in their hands, they have done well. Guiding you guys on the online audiences and things of that nature. Which, of course, very proud of it. So I'm gonna let them take it home.
Let's take it home.
Thanks, Gee.
It's definitely been a pleasure to be able to do this, because when I've been doing we've been doing sports for, at least for me, for 2 years, and now they wanted to introduce this year, and I was kind of nervous at first, but once you start, we just talking sports. We just talking football.
We're definitely just talking football. And yes, it was a lot of nerves at first. I could definitely say that for myself. And it was like, okay, Kareska was like, all right, Dawson, you and Jalen are going to do this post show for first. And I'm like, okay, this is my third year doing First and 10. And I'm like, okay, now we're doing a post show. So
I didn't know what was going on.
I didn't know what was going on either. But hey, I'm glad we started this. It's been great from week 1 all the way into now second round of the playoffs. It's been great. We appreciate y'all out there, Acadiana, for watching us, tuning in, not only to the post show, but also to First and 10, going out there and voting for top plays, go out there and voting for Game of the week. Going out there for hey, you can't forget about athlete of the week. We still have that every Thursday. And I know Kaplan lost this week, but Dalen Landry was our past Thursday athlete of the week from Kaplan. So it's been great. It's been fun.
It's been good. And the reason why we're saying all this is because this is going to be our last post game show, and we don't know what the future is going to hold for Jalen and I. So just to be able to have this opportunity to do this, I am more than appreciative for KLFY to give us this, and for y'all to continue to tune in. It's definitely been a pleasure. But I guess we're gonna have to sign off now. I don't want to, but
yeah, I don't want to either. I'm very, very appreciative of Acadiana.
I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. But for now, I'm Dawson D'Amico.
Hey, and I'm Jalen Cavalier.
Thank y'all for tuning in.
See you later, Acadiana.